Hi, this is Tisch Aitken, and it is May 10th, 2022. This is your weekly report, astrological update. If you could please like and subscribe to my channel, I would really appreciate it. There is so much going on. I just got back at the end of last week from Los Angeles. I saw great clients and friends, and it was an experience, but also really showed me, because I haven't been doing much like a lot of people. I saw a lot of people I haven't seen in a long time, and just how, this whole time we've been in has affected them. And I heard a lot of wild stories from clients and friends, and unfortunately some big events happened while I was there, because that's the nature of eclipses. You can get shocking news, you can have a lot of change happen in a very short period of time. Eclipses can stir you up and they can shock you, and yet they can also bring amazing opportunities. I've had some great news, people selling their homes suddenly for great deals, and launching a new business, things that are exciting. And yet I've heard some sad stories and some shocking stories, lots of stuff in a very short period of time. And at present, we've got a lot going on because we're in the midst of eclipse season. We have a total lunar eclipse approaching, which will occur on May 15th at 9:14 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, and on May 16th at 12:14 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, at 25 degrees and 18 minutes of the fixed water sign of Scorpio. That is really intense. And the moon is in its fall position in the sign of Scorpio, and it's a painful placement of the moon. The moon is how you get your needs met, and having it in Scorpio, which is about blocked pain, it's about buried emotions, unresolved issues sometimes. It's a very psychological sign, and it's a very intense sign. It's a very healing and empowering sign, but it's a sign of death and regeneration. And it's a south node eclipse that's about letting go and releasing. And Scorpio itself is ruled by Pluto, the planet of elimination. So it is about eliminating things that are keeping you from moving ahead in this new era, in this very challenging time that we are in history. And yet there are a lot of planets still transiting in Pisces. So there's a lot of scattered energy. Pisces is a water sign like Scorpio, not as harsh as Scorpio can be, and I say this as a Scorpio, so I get it. But it's a very emotional and sensitive sign. So we have currently 4 points transiting in Pisces, so that's a lot. But the big, which I'm neglecting to say because there is so much, and I still am maybe just getting over jet lag, is that Jupiter is changing signs today at 7:22 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Jupiter, which is the Grand Benefic, the planet of higher wisdom and luck and opportunity, changes signs and enters the Cardinal Fire sign of Aries at the world point, because anything at 0 degrees of the cardinal signs impacts each and every one of us. And the cardinal signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's a sign of self. It's a sign of new beginnings. It's very passionate. It's ruled by the planet Mars, which is very aggressive, passionate, fervent energy. And so it's about expanding through your passion and courage and fighting for yourself. I had a great experience. My last client, when I was in LA, brought me this beautiful candle with petals, and it's an intention candle as a gift. I love it. And I was burning it the last couple of days. Her daughter made it for me, and Jupiter is changing signs within probably an hour and a half. I don't know what time it is, but I know it's soon. And I came back, and it was the end of the candle, but it was really going. So there will be a lot more fire in the sky, and Venus is transiting in the Cardinal Fire sign of Aries until May 28th. So there is some fire in the sky, as well as a lot of Neptunian energy, which can be confusing, escapist, emotional, very creative, very psychic and intuitive. Eclipses uncover things. I think I'm having technical difficulties. Mercury retrograded today. That's the other big deal. On the day of Jupiter's ingress into the sign of Aries, Mercury retrograded at 7:47 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time in the sign at which it rules, Gemini. It retrograded at 4 degrees and 50 minutes of the mutable air sign of Gemini. And you can expect a lot of information getting uncovered because Gemini is about news and stories and information and finding out things and communication of all forms and hearing from people from your past. Mercury retrograde, and Mercury will retrograde into signs. So initially it's retrograding in Gemini, and then on May 22nd it's going to re-enter the fixed Earth sign of Taurus. It will station direct on June 3rd at 26 degrees of Taurus. Now this will set off where the lunar eclipse occurs. So the total lunar eclipse is on May 15th or May 16th, depending on where you live, and it's going to be at 25 degrees of the fixed sign of Scorpio. Taurus is the opposite sign, and when Mercury does station, it's going to set off that point by, it's going to be within a degree. So even more news getting uncovered of what we're processing. And, the middle end of May is going to be very emotionally intense, and we're already feeling that. There are some crazy news stories. I mean, aside from stories I'm hearing from individuals I know, we can look that prison guard. I mean, that's very Pisces to me, because we have had so much Pisces, and we had that Jupiter-Neptune conjunction. The woman sold her house for less than half and went off with an inmate, and how did she think she would ever get away? I don't know, but I guess I'm tuning into other stories because sometimes it's hard to tune into other things that are so scary. But that's kind of a wild story. Or the Johnny Depp case, which he's getting hit by the eclipses and by Uranus because his ascendant is 12 degrees of Leo, 12 fixed, and the solar eclipse we had on April 30th was at 10 degrees and 20 minutes of the fixed Earth sign of Taurus. So it squared his ascendant by 2 degrees, uncovering a lot of information, but maybe hopefully, I don't know. I'm not going to get too into that, but it's a lot of drama, obviously. And Pisces rules film, and it rules creative people, and it rules musicians, among other things. And obviously he's an incredibly talented actor, and obviously this is a case in which there is a lot of emotional and mental health issues and addiction and drama. So, and all these fans coming to check it out. So it's very, it's also kind of encapsulating this energy. But I think that when, Jupiter changes signs today, this defaults back to when Uranus, the great awakener of the zodiac and the ruler of the sign of Aquarius, entered Aries on March 13th of 2011. So that's 11 years ago. And it went back and forth at that point through the beginning of 2012. So look back in your life, if you could remember what was happening at that time. I believe that was around when the revolution happened in Egypt. I'm forgetting now exactly, but I believe it was in the beginning of 2011. And it was done through Facebook. I remember this man they had a child, and they named the kid Facebook. I don't know if they've really thought that, but at that time they used social media to implement a revolution, and Uranus rules technology and ways of networking, and in modern times social media. I know in my case I was starting to do an attempt at a podcast. It was a lame attempt, but I was starting to try to broadcast and reach people in different mediums. And now we're in the new age of Aquarius, in which Aquarian energy is very prominent, and Saturn will be transiting in Aquarius until March 7th of next year. And each of us is having to use technology more in every facet of our lives, whether we like it or not, and in ways to build this very broken world and businesses as we move ahead. And so how can you be innovative in this time? Jupiter does love being in Pisces, and it's expanding through your imagination and love. And yet it's about expanding through courage and passion now and taking risks and chances, I feel. And, this is a very disruptive time right now. So, maybe lay low. And I would not leave unattended candles, as I found out about an hour ago. But luckily the candle had gotten to its end. So that was good. But, I think that, Jupiter will re-enter Pisces on October 28th through December 20th, which is right by the winter solstice, and it gets to the final 2 degrees of Pisces, which is where Venus and Jupiter were on the day of the partial solar eclipse that we experienced on April 30th, when it was the solar eclipse, the new moon eclipse on April 30th at 10 degrees of Taurus. Venus and Jupiter were conjunct, and they became exactly conjunct at 5:14 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time that day at 28 degrees of Pisces, or maybe it was 27 degrees and 59 minutes. It's been a couple of weeks, but I know it was right by there. And Jupiter will retrace where Venus and Jupiter were during that very creative and fertile eclipse. Venus ruled that solar eclipse because it was in the sign of Taurus. Being creative, pursuing what you love, re-examining your relationships. How do you heal in a very sad time? How do you go for your dreams when we're still working with the Jupiter-Neptune story through the end of this month? A lot of revelations, lots of shakeups, lots of excitement and new beginnings too, but keeping steady during a very frenetic and hazy time. So, I think it's just trying to keep it together. So I wish you a lot of luck. I will be trying to make more sense later in this week and coming in more. And I will talk more about the eclipse at length, but I wanted to check in and say hello to all of you and take care. Thank you.